It all started with a dust cloud and a scream sharp enough to make a bull drop his cud. And if you've never heard a grown animal look confused, you should see what happened that morning. My wife Leah was just back from feeding chores when the whole ranch went from peaceful to pure chaos in a heartbeat. A luxury SUV barreling up our gravel road like she owned the place, chickens scattering, dogs barking, and the dust rising so thick you could taste it. Then the horn. God, that horn, like a banshee had borrowed a Cadillac. I looked up from the barn, wrench in hand, to see her standing there, the self-appointed queen of our local HOA, heels digging into my dirt, hair unmoving, one hand waving a clipboard like a sword, the other pointing straight at my wife, already yelling something about community standards and visual harmony, as if those words meant a damn thing out here. Leah was just standing there, feed bucket in hand, calm as a sunrise, letting Karen, because what else would you call her, scream about our barn color, the rooster weather vane, the supposed environmental hazards of cow manure, even the danger our cattle fences posed to her neighborhood's children. She'd been on our land, uninvited, less than 3 minutes before she decided to wage war. Thing is, our property wasn't even in her HOA. Didn't matter to Karen. Logic never did. That day she drew her line in the dust and picked a fight in the wrong damn yard. We'd been here 10 years, built every inch ourselves, dealt with city folks moving in from all over, but nothing like this woman. She'd moved into the new subdivision that crept up behind our back fence, and ever since, it had been flyers about landscaping, newsletters addressed to us like we'd joined their cult, and now this. A full-blown confrontation. She stormed out of that SUV like a SWAT raid, beige suit spotless, fury barely contained. "You are in violation of HOA Section 7.3, she screamed, holding out a laminated list. Yes, laminated. About paint colors, livestock, and the alleged crime of owning a metal rooster. My wife just let her rant, dead calm, then finally said, "Ma'am, you're 300 yards outside your jurisdiction." Didn't faze her. She just got louder, flailing so hard a paper shot out of her hand and landed in the water trough. I walked over, looked at her, and said, "What harmony? This is a ranch. Our harmony is diesel and cowbells." She didn't like that, not one bit. Then came the phone. Suddenly, Karen's documenting the hostile holdouts, panning the camera to our goats as if they were international criminals. Leah told her to leave, politely, firmly. Karen marched up to the barn, muttering about noise violations and code compliance, until Bear, our Great Pyrenees, just stood there, all 120 pounds of him, silent and still, daring her to cross another line. She shrieked, "Unlicensed attack animal." I opened the gate and said, "Back the way you came, and don't come back unless you've got muffins and an apology." She stomped off, only to plant herself at our property line and threaten us with legal ruin. My wife just smiled. "We know where we are. This land isn't yours." Karen peeled off in a cloud of rage and cheap perfume. That should have been the end. It wasn't. By sundown, our mailbox was stuffed with a hot pink envelope sealed in glittery duct tape, a 3-page official warning of violations, threats of fines, and a $150 penalty for agricultural infrastructure. It was legal nonsense, but more than that, it was war. Within days, neighbors grew cold. Margaret, who once brought pecan pie, wouldn't even wave. At the feed store, I heard Karen was stirring up Facebook drama, posting blurry photos of our barn, claiming we were running a black market goat ring, even calling animal control. The inspector who came out looked mortified, apologizing as Leah led him through our spotless barn and pampered livestock. "Karen's name comes up a lot lately," he whispered on his way out. Then things escalated. One afternoon, our gate was cut, no trespassing sign gone, a calf wandering loose. Karen's SUV caught on our security cam, parked right on the utility road as she wandered around taking photos for the Community Harmony Committee. Leah told her if she didn't leave, she'd get the manure hose. Karen snapped pictures, threatened escalation, and left, her phone full, her case empty. But the last straw was the fence. One morning, our barbed wire was replaced by a useless white vinyl HOA standard fence, a note stapled to a stake, for safety, aesthetics, and compliance. I called the sheriff. He shook his head. "Karen again?" He filed a report, confirmed our boundaries, and said Karen was trespassing every time. That's when Leah got real quiet, the kind of quiet that means she's plotting a solution, not revenge. Tom, our retired neighbor and legendary gossip, rolled up with sweet tea and news. Karen was trying to annex our land through the HOA by faking violations. If she could get enough paper evidence, the county might force us in. We posted the sheriff's trespass report all along the fence, set up cameras that sent footage to our phones, and parked our tow rig, winch ready, by the lake near her favorite parking spot. Leah laminated a new sign. Warning: vehicles left on property will be moved at owner's risk. Lake depth 14 feet. When Karen's SUV showed up again, this time sunk deeper into our grass, we didn't hesitate. Leah in gloves, me with the rig, we hooked up her precious Escalade, winched it down the slope, and let gravity do the rest. That pearl-white monument to entitlement slid into the lake with a cinematic splash and the kind of finality you can't buy at Home Depot. Karen arrived just in time to see the bubbles, screaming about lawsuits and federal offenses. Leah stood her ground. I reminded Karen, on camera, she'd been warned for weeks. The sheriff arrived, took one look, and just grinned. Guess that view right's argument sank, he said, writing up a final report. But Karen wasn't done. She went live on Facebook, held a press conference in her backyard, spun herself into a martyr, and announced a lawsuit against us for emotional distress and destruction of property. What she didn't know, her own HOA was turning on her. Anonymous emails, screenshots, and even handwritten apologies started arriving at our door. The board scheduled a vote to remove her, 32 for, 2 against, and when it happened, Karen refused to leave, ranting until someone threatened to call security. She tried to serve us with fake legal documents, which the sheriff laughed off. This is my favorite. Article 17, Rural Visual Offenses. When asked if we wanted to press charges, Leah just said, "Let's give her one last out. If she comes back again, we will." Then the local news ran a story. HOA president ousted after SUV ends up in Rancher's Lake. For the first time, neighbors reached out in peace. Pies, apologies, invitations. My wife accepted, always choosing grace over grudge, but she kept the winch cable clean just in case. For a week, peace settled in. No more pink envelopes, no screaming SUVs, not even goats misbehaving. Until Friday, when Marvin from zoning showed up. Anonymous complaint, he said sheepishly. We gave him lemonade, walked him around, and when he was done, he said, "Let's just say her name starts with K and rhymes with fall down a well." She'd filed a dozen bogus complaints, all dismissed, but it was clear she wouldn't quit. Leah sat on the porch that night, journal open. She won't stop until someone makes her. I nodded, staring at the moon on the lake. Then maybe it's time we go public. A reporter called, wanted our story. Leah agreed, not for revenge, but so others would know how far someone could go when given a little power and no boundaries. The interview went viral. 3 million views, a trending hashtag, #LakeKaren. Suddenly, Karen was a cautionary tale, a symbol of HOA overreach. The county launched a review, the board elected new leadership, and Karen's financial abuses came to light. The last time we saw her, she just stood at the lake's edge, arms crossed, staring at the water. "You ruined me," she whispered. "No, you did that to yourself," Leah replied, gentle but firm. Karen left, and word is, she moved out of state. Tried to sue, case tossed. Her legend remains, a warning, not a threat. Now, neighbors visit with gifts and thanks. The new board focuses on gardens, not grudges, and my wife's been asked to advise the county on land rights. The winch is packed away, signs replaced with simple warnings, respect the fence. Funny how you never really know the strength of your boundaries, physical or otherwise, until someone tries to break them. Sometimes you defend them with wire and rope. Sometimes all it takes is one good splash. And sometimes, the loudest message is left at the bottom of a lake, a monument to entitlement, a warning to the next would-be warlord that some lines should never be crossed. So let me ask you this. In your community, where would you draw the line? And when someone finally pushes too far, how would you defend what matters most? Share your story below. Let's see where you stand when the dust finally settles.